Hello and welcome to the Tarotscopes for the week of February 23rd. And if you're new here and you're thinking, cool, what are Tarotscopes? They are weekly advice for each zodiac sign from the tarot cards. Now, I always encourage people to take a listen to their sun, moon, and rising signs to see what fits most with where they currently are. And if you want to see the written version or get these right to your email every single Monday morning, make sure you visit adrianamari.com/tarotscopes. Now, the deck that we're using this week is the Lost Forest Tarot by Chelsea Santa Maria. This is such a cool deck. I don't use it nearly as often as I feel like I should, but you will see the art is stunning. And one really cool feature of this deck is if you line up all of the cards of each suit, they form a panoramic picture. So any little detail like that, I absolutely love. Now we're going to jump right in with the weekly tarot scopes, and we're going to start off with Aries because first zodiac sign of the system, so that's what we're doing. And Aries, you have the Nine of Skies. So this tells us that it is easy for you this week just to get stuck in that mental spiral where your mind is spinning shadows into monsters because so much of the time that Knight of Skies is the anxiety or the insomnia card. So remember that anxiety is a master of fiction and it has no power over the present moment. So when you find yourself spiraling, reconnect with the present. Take a deep breath, recenter yourself, and remember that thoughts only have the power you give them. So just let them pass by like cars on the street. Don't interact, don't give that power to them if they're not serving you. Now, this week, every message has a question associated with it. So, your question is, what is one tangible physical action that you can take this week to prove to yourself that you and not your thoughts are in control? Okay, next up is Taurus with the Ace of Skies. Now, the Ace of Skies tells us to prepare for an aha moment or mental breakthroughs this week. Allow yourself to see through the mist and the fog, any confusion that you've been suffering, to get the clarity that you need to move forward because it's a coming. Be honest with yourself, though. We're not going to dive into the shadows. So be honest, use your words for good. And that especially means the words you're using to yourself, and trust the sharp edges of your own intellect to cut through any of that lingering indecision or BS. Your question to ponder: what is the one truth you can no longer ignore, and what are you going to do about it? Hmm? Okay, next up, we have my fellow sign, Gemini, and we are the 10 of fire. So I know being a Gemini that we tend to overcommit and like to load our plate up with so many different things. So that could be obligations, responsibilities, thoughts, ideas, projects. And we're getting to a point where we have more on our plate than we can actually carry. So instead of wearing yourself to the point of exhaustion, because neither of us want that, conserve your energy. Delegate, ask for help, or simply say no. And remember, no is a complete sentence. You do not owe it to anyone to over explain yourself, okay? Do what you need to make sure that you don't burn yourself out before you reach the finish line. Because the 10 of fire tells us we're close. We're getting there. We're close. We want to make sure that we can get through that to that final push. Get through to that final push. My goodness. Your question is, if you were to drop just one responsibility this week, what would it be? And how would your body react? Would it feel guilty or would you just have a big sigh of relief? Okay, next up we have Cancer. You have the Three of Oceans. Love this card. This encourages you to carve out a little extra time for connection. So make that time, call that friend, reach out to someone you haven't spoken to, send that text message of encouragement in the group chat, or invite a few friends to a fun date night. It's all about celebrating the friendships and the connections in your life, the ones that make you feel seen, that make you feel like you can be you, and the love and support that they each bring. Your question to consider: which of your connections feel the most effortless right now? And how can you make sure that you're not neglecting it just because it's easy? Because sometimes that's an easy trap to fall into, isn't it? Next up, we have Leo, and we're sticking with the ocean energy with the Seven of Oceans. So you may find yourself easily distracted this week, and it can become increasingly difficult to choose the path that you wish to follow. It might be really easy for you to fall into the grass is greener or shiny object syndrome, where you're like, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks good. But remember that the shimmer is often just a trick of the light. So trust your gut, trust your intuition over pure logic right now to make the choices and to choose the road that feels right for you, because that will be the best option. Your question: if you had to pick one path or goal to stick to for the next 30 days, which one would you actually feel good about once the initial excitement wears off? Because that's something to consider as you're making your choices. All right, my Virgos, you have the Nine of Earth. So I want you to slow down for a bit this week and really recognize the effort you've put into getting where you are and take stock of the stability and the security that you've built in your life. It didn't come by chance. It didn't come without sacrifice. It was forged through persistence, and you did that. So be proud and give yourself permission to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because if not, what is the point, right? That hard work you're doing isn't for nothing. So take it a little bit easy and celebrate some of that. Be grateful and enjoy. Now, your question is, how can you treat yourself this week in a way that acknowledges your progress without feeling like just another task on your to-do list? It should be fun, not something that you feel like you have to do. So keep that in mind as you're choosing. Libra, we are sticking with the same Earth energy with the Queen of Earth. So this week, I want you to really prioritize your well-being, especially your physical well-being. Listen to your body. We know that you have a natural gift for turning chaos into order and ideas into tangible results, but don't forget to nurture yourself the same way that you nurture others and your work. You deserve that. So tend to your environment with intention, make things beautiful, feel comfortable around you. Play as hard as you work, because like I said, you deserve to enjoy yourself too. So your question is, what is one small change you can make to your physical space, the space around you, or to your daily routine, whichever one you decide, that would immediately lower your stress levels? And maybe you choose one for each if you're feeling super ambitious. All right, Scorpio, you have the Two of Skies. So this is your reminder that yes, choices aren't always easy. And you may find yourself stuck at a crossroads this week, but it's important that you don't avoid making that choice or making that decision. So see each side for what it is. Take the blindfold off and really see things with clarity, not with avoidance. Weigh the pros and cons, ask questions, but don't give your power away by sitting on the fence forever, because not choosing is still a choice, right? There might be no right or wrong or best choice in that situation, and we have to remember that clarity sometimes comes after we commit to a path. So get on with it. Now, your question is, when you're stuck in indecision, ask yourself, if both choices lead to a valid outcome, what is actually stopping you from flipping a coin and getting on with it all? Worth an ask, right? Okay, next we have Sagittarius. You have the Chariot. Woo, lots of movement for you if you take it this week. So there's great forward momentum for you to make use of. So grab the reins. Remember, you're in control, and let's get a move on. Let's get to it. Focus on where you want to go and don't let anything get in your way. I always say, if the Chariot is the card that you're getting, if there's a roadblock, we're running right through it, metaphorically, not physically, please. Recognize that to reach your destination, you're going to have to leave the known, or you're going to have to leave your comfort zone behind. Because so much of the time, the unfortunate fact of this human experience is that growth requires leaving comfort. So move away from that castle, but get really dedicated and be confident on your path forward, because you've got this. Now, your question, I love this one actually, is if you were 100% sure that you couldn't fail, what is something that you would commit to doing this week? So do it, right? Let's just do it and see where it takes us. All right, Capricorn, you are the Page of Oceans. So lean into softness and sensitivity this week with curiosity and an open heart. Allow yourself to get swept up in a little bit of whimsy. We don't have to get too crazy, but we want some whimsy and to follow the adventure of your imagination, no matter how impractical it might seem. I know there might be a desire to be logical, to be practical, to be grounded, but this page of oceans is encouraging us to open that up a little bit and to follow that flow. Finding awe in the mundane isn't a distraction. It's how you reconnect with your most creative self, with your heart, and with your intuition. And I love that for all of us, but especially for you this week. Your question is, what's one thing you could do this week purely for the plot or the fun of it, regardless of the actual result? Take a side quest. It's side quest time. Okay, next up we have Aquarius, and you are the two of fire this week. So when you're presented with a choice, when you're at a crossroads, there's sometimes a tendency to take the route that's familiar to you, the one that's comfortable, the one that's routine, the one that you're used to. So this week, you're being encouraged to go on a different path, to follow the spark of inspiration, to get out of your comfort zone and take the road less traveled. Set your sights, make a plan of action. So we're not just flying by the seat of our pants here. There is some action and grounded path behind it, and see where the adventure leads. But don't be afraid to test the waters and decide in which way you want to expand. Because after the 2 comes the 3, which is our expansion, but we're still figuring out what that means to us at this point. So your question, if you took a different route today, what's the worst thing that could happen? And could you actually handle that? And that's just a thought experiment to get you outside of that comfort zone and encourage you to take a bit of a risk. Last but not least, we have our beautiful Pisces, and your card this week is the 7 of Earth. So you may feel like things have been moving slowly lately, and hey, it's part of life. I'm a Gemini, I get it, it's frustrating, I hate waiting around, but center yourself in patience. Continue to tend to your goals. I'm not saying give up or put them aside, so tend to them, but don't get hung up on the pot boiling. You know how they say a watch pot never boils, right? So don't be afraid to diversify, to shift your attention a little bit so that you can come back and see the progress really being made. Know that quiet doesn't mean a lack of progress, or slow doesn't mean a lack of progress. Sometimes the most important part of our growth or of our progress happens underground where we can't see it. So keep that in mind. And your question is, where might you be trying to force a result when things actually just need a little bit more time to develop? So there we go. Those are our Tarotscopes for the week of February 23rd, 2026. I'll be back next week with a brand new set. Make sure you like this video, give me a follow, and drop your zodiac sign in the comments because I want to know what it is. Have a great rest of your week.